Oh, nice. I'll retweet your tweet. Wait, I gotta do that on the desktop. I know, jeez. Connect to Twitter and everything explodes. Oh, Jason's in the chat. Jason Eisner. Yeah, he's in. Yeah.
Power Comics.
Hello, Power People! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Power Comics live stream. I'm joined, of course, by Benjamin Marra and our extra special guest. How's it going? Everybody say hello to André. Now you have to help me with the last name. Poliquin?
Poliquin.
Poliquin, okay. How's it going?
Think about Poe like Edgar Allan Poe and Lee like General Lee. And Kenny, I can't help you with that.
Okay. How's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. It's it's our absolute pleasure to have you here. You are a celebrity among the Power Comics world.
Well, thank you for having me. I had no idea there was still some interest in any form.
Oh, man. Delta Squadron is legendary among the Power Comics crew. I'm sure everybody here in chat will tell you such. But it's awesome to have you. You could probably notice there's only 3 of us tonight. Our head researcher, Gabe is using one of his vacation days. So he won't be joining us tonight. But Ben is here. And Ben, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really excited to be here. Happy to talk with André.
Yes. Okay, we got some French in the chat now, it looks like.
Yeah.
Excellent. So first and foremost, André, so you watched our Delta Squadron review / book club episode. What were your thoughts on our thoughts on Delta Squadron?
I was very embarrassed. That in decades. And then you started reading all the dialogue. Oh, God.
It's great dialogue.
We love it.
So,
yeah, we love it.
My writing did improve somewhat, at least over the last 3 decades. So, yeah, almost 4 decades.
Oh man,
wow.
It's absolutely awesome stuff. Some of the most, like, when we talk about Power Comics, it's mostly just our way of describing these kind of self-published, very singular visions. That we find from 80s comic books, and yours just like checks all the boxes. You wrote it, you illustrated it. It's very meticulous. It has your own style. You can identify your own style like in a second, and it's so like I keep using the word meticulous, but it is like all the folds and all the costumes, all the weapons, all the vehicles. It's such a intense world you've created.
Well, I always enjoyed the whole package. Like I enjoyed creating the characters, creating the designs, the costumes, the background, the stories, doing my own pencils, my own inking.
Yeah.
The covers too, and so I enjoyed the whole thing. So
that's really
from A to Z. So it was a way for me to really enjoy doing that, and I had a lot of fun doing it though.
That's really clear, and that really comes through, I think, throughout the, like, when you're reading the comic is your investment in it, how much you love it. And I think that's one of the things that makes us love it, is seeing how much love there is from
Definitely.
the creator for the creation. And there's something that's really, like, I don't know, it connects you with the work itself as a reader, because you can kind of feel that kind of emotion yourself.
The passion is palpable, Adam Brooks says, and that is 100% true. And I just and that's going to get to, I just wanted to flip to our overhead. Our overhead here, where you can see this unbelievable power spread we have here between the universe that you've created, that is mostly complete of what I guess would be the Delta Squadron universe. But we were joking off air just a few minutes ago that you've created, like, in terms of the Power Comics artists that we talked to, I mean, you've literally created your own franchise. Like, not only is there, the Phoenix world, which is pre-Delta Squadron, but then there's the Delta Squadron universe, but then there's also the movies. This is actually number 2. Like, we don't have number 1 here, but this is the sequel, which I was surprised to learn was 2 freaking hours long last night when I was ripping it.
2 full-length features.
2 full-length features. This one's 2 hours long, which we're going to get to. We're definitely going to watch some of this tonight for sure. But I mean, it's this whole world you've created. Lots of military action, ninjas, tons of ninjas, lots of swords, ninjas, and stuff. So, tell us kind of, like, what was your influences and what were you inspired by in creating this world?
Well, I got interested in comics in 1980. I'd never been interested in comics before, and I went like to a corner store and I saw their back wall full of comics, and something clicked. Just started buying my first comics, and I loved
What comics were those?
The funny thing is I remember the exact first 3 comics I ever bought. I know I followed series. I can recall like some different series with Spider-Man and the Avengers and Captain America and stuff like that. Mostly Marvel. Sometimes some Batman and Superman thrown in. But like the first 3 comics were kind of lame, but it got me hooked. Like I think I had a Batman that was fighting Captain Boomerang, cutting Brink's truck in half with the boomerang, and that was like Captain America, a second part, fighting like a giant gargoyle. And I had a French comic that was like the French translation of the Hulk. And it was like up against a celestial, like those giant, like robot-like celestials in the Marvel universe. And he had a sidekick that looked like Spider-Man, but wasn't. But anyway,
I'm just gonna flip through the first. I'm gonna flip through the first Delta Squadron while you're talking here, just to refamiliarize everybody with. I mean, we looked at it a few weeks ago, in definite detail, but just to kind of refamiliarize everybody just with your style here. So, but obviously there's an influence, here that reminds me of G.I. Joe and action figures and all that stuff. So how did you, like, were you always into that sort of thing and toys? And tell us about that.
Well, I've read comics for the first few years, and well, I kept reading them for quite a while. And then when G.I. Joe came out, I love the whole the dynamic of having like the toy line and the comics and the cartoons, and like each action figure had his ID card and with a background on each character, and I loved it. And the vehicles, you had like blueprints. You'd build the vehicle because it was half assembled, so it was almost like a model kit. And you had a blueprint. So I had a file of all the blueprints and all the ID cards, and I thought it was cool. And I loved the designs.
I love like the ID cards.
Cobra,
the ID cards were
and,
amazing.
G.I. Joe and all the vehicles and stuff. And I watched the cartoons, and I collected the toys. And I collected a lot of toys, like He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, and Thundercats and Centurions. You talked about that. I had those too. And
Centurions.
Nice.
They were like
that's right. You did say that.
Competitor to G.I. Joe. They were cool too. And all sorts of other things. Like they even had like Chuck Norris and his Karate Commandos. Ninjas.
The best.
So I bought the ninjas. The Rambo and his Force of Freedom. He had ninjas too. So I bought those too. And they were like Dragon Force. It was all ninjas. Like the bad guy ninjas was like zombies and robots and monsters, but with ninja outfits and ninja swords. So that was cool. So I had them all.
You probably had the sickest. You probably had the best toy collection of all time, I'm assuming.
I didn't keep them, unfortunately. They went at some point went to charity, and I wish I kept them.
Oh no!
It's always the case. That's usually the case.
One thing I just want to point out real quick is because I have to highlight this. Another reason you might know Andre on our channel is from we've done a top 10 power weapons video, our favorite weapons of all the comics we have, and this thigh cannon definitely ranked high on that list.
Yeah,
and I definitely wanted to ask you about the creation of the thigh cannon.
Well, I was reading G.I. Joe, and I loved the character of Destro when he introduced him. And he had like on one of his wrist guards, he had like rockets.
Oh yeah.
He shot the rockets off his right arm wrist guards. It was
That's
cool.
right.
So I figured, I'd like to have something along those lines, but it may be dangerous to just have the rockets. They should be shooting out of like a mini bazooka, And 3 is not enough.
No.
You know, so how many can I fit on the character? You know, how can you shoot them? Like,
there's
okay,
one,
so
two,
both
three.
arms, like even the upper arms, the
Wow.
shoulders, and the thighs. That's as far down as you could get, and still try to aim proper. So
Andre,
it's like,
there
okay,
is-
he's
there
fully
is-
equipped. He's got plenty. He doesn't have to worry about reloading too much. So you know.
Amazing.
Andre, there is 18 rocket launchers on this character. I just wanted to point that out for anyone. 18. That's what makes it top 10 power weapon of all time. All right. So anyway,
Yeah.
and we're also going to get into Phoenix, which definitely I know is what launched, is where you started developing the Delta Squadron. But this is a cool faction comic. Here we have. I can't remember the characters' names off the top of my head, but you have the kind of psionic, clairvoyant character. You have like the sort of non-vet, the ninja, of course, and then you have the like daredevil couple, who is probably my favorite character in the bunch. And they sort of get into this adventure here, which is awesome. And you're introducing these individual characters. And one thing too that I remember stuck out to us when we looked through this a few weeks back was this page in particular. Or this spread rather, of just this awesome, these close-ups on the eyes, and then really seeing the ninja coming through these fully realized backgrounds and the weapons, and totally superb.
Oh, I was a ninjas big time. Like every time there was a ninja movie in the 80s, like I'd check the newspaper and I'd go and see it. Like
Nice.
So American Ninja, Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja Tree of Domination, Nine Deaths of the Ninja. Saw them all.
Amazing.
So I had a few magazines that were about ninjas.
Yes.
And I just got my hands on 2 of them, but they had like ads for like martial arts stores where you could order. Well, I couldn't order them in Canada, but they had like nice pictures of ninja equipment, and you could see them. They use those in the movies. So I wanted like, he's got to have a wall with all the traditional ninja paraphernalia, all the weapons and stuff. So I wanted a scene with that in it. So.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely see a lot of ninja today as we're going through your work. That is for sure. But what was the influence behind the kind of daredevil couple in this comic?
Well, one of the toy lines that I love was Mask. Apparently, I heard later on it was like an offshoot of G.I. Joe, but they all had these masks that were cool, and they controlled vehicles, and the vehicles transformed. So, like, you had like vehicles that turned from say a Jeep to a plane, and like a motorcycle to a helicopter. They had a motorcycle that turned into a hovercraft. So that's where it gave me the idea. Well, it could be they made a better hovercraft than I did, but anyway, it was on a budget. So.
So talk to us a little bit about and feel free anyone in chat, if you guys have questions, we'll definitely throw them Andre's way as well, but definitely kind of chat us up about just like, because Delta Squadron, I think most of our audience may know it because it was distributed in the States. What was the story behind getting this comic out there and out into the world?
Well, as a background, like when I started reading comics, the French translated the American comics were published by a local publisher in Quebec, and they offered at some point advice to readers who wanted to try and do their own comics. So they offered to like send us your comics and we'll give you some advice, So I did my first comic and I sent it, and they responded by mail and gave me some advice. So I took their advice, I tried to improve my work, sent another one. They did the same, and when I sent the third one, then they said, "Well, you know what? It looks good enough. We got room to publish." They offered to publish it, and they started. So between 1983 and 1985, I had my first installment of Escadron of DELTA Squadron in French that was being published there. So I had 4 stories that got published in those 2 years.
Cool.
And I had another series called Stranox that was like more like inspired by Star Wars and more sci-fi stuff. And that was also published. Like I think I had like 4 or 5 stories there. By 1985, they changed their format. The American comics that they were translating had more pages, so they had less room, and they had no longer had room to publish like amateur work. They were also publishing other guys that were doing their own comics in those pages and the different comics they were translating. But by 1985, they couldn't anymore. They told me, well, you could make your own comic. You'll have to pay for it, but we could help you and guide you and to make it.
Right.
So I put all my savings into it, and they got me in touch with their distributor. I had to sign a contract with the distributor so that all proceeds from the sales would go directly to the publisher until such a time as all the printing costs were paid, which never happened. And I had debts, but I paid them off at the end. And it was like a newsstand distribution in Quebec. So you only knew how many comics you sold of one issue when the second, a few weeks after the second one came out, because then they bring the new issue in the stores and they take back the ones that are left from the previous one. Then they compile what's left, and then they pay you 50% of the cover price of the difference of whatever was sold. And that's where you got the real numbers and you know how much it's sold. And then you have to to prepare the next one if you want to know what the current one is gonna sell, unless you stop completely. But the sales plummeted at the second one, then it came back up.
Is this Phoenix that you're talking about?
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
And when I published the fifth one, I knew that I learned that the sales of the fourth one was very bad too. So I had to quit. But the fifth one's the only one that paid itself. So.
Oh wow!
And the fifth one is awesome.
I had to stop then because I owed too much money to the printer, so I had debt. So I was like, okay, I got paid up. And later on, once it was paid up, I got in touch with an artist and a writer that was publishing his own books that were much more professional than me. And he introduced me to the direct sale market in the States and Canada. Mm-hmm. So it was Mark Schimblum that was working on a comic book called Northgard. He had several other titles at some point. So he told me about how that worked. So I had to contact over a dozen different comic distributors, because back then you had that many and more that were separating the territory between the States and Canada. So it was different distributors in different areas. And you had to print flyers and send them box of flyers so that they could distribute them to their comics shops and see how many orders they would get for your comic, and they would compile the orders, send you the order by mail, and to deliver to give them so many comics that they would distribute. So everything had to be timed. Everything had to be timed in such a way, because I had to get the comic to be kept printed. I had to pay for the printing.
Right.
I had to make sure the cover the cover was ready. I had to get the color separation done elsewhere, then send them the films and then the artwork, and they would give me a blueprint. I would approve if everything was fine, and then once I got all my orders from the distributors, I would give them the list of which distributor, where, and they would actually ship it. So it was a very specialized printer that was offering that service, and that was a big help, because then they shipped everything that I needed shipped to each individual distributor.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
So how old were you when say this is hitting the stands? How old are you?
Okay, Phoenix, I was 19.
Oh wow.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and when I started the Delta Squadron, I was 21.
Wow. And this is you here,
I was
right?
Pretty young.
This is you here.
Yep.
So that's May of '85, and if I can read May correctly.
Yeah, May 1985. That's a long time ago.
And that
I got lots of gray hair and wrinkles since then. Facial hair.
But this is you, but this is also you. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Because a huge
that was a precursor to making my movies. I wanted to make movies at some point. At that time, I wasn't equipped to do it. But I love the costuming. Like I always loved costuming when I was a kid, and I wanted to have to play the characters for fun, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was studying commercial illustration, and I made friends with a guy that was in a band, and they offered to help me take pictures. So they had a van and drove around, and we found spots to take pictures. So I bought
what kind
the
of band?
And,
What kind of band?
Rock band was like at the time what they were called Mange Doucement, but I have no idea where to pick the name from, and I don't know what they did since then. But anyway, they were a lot of fun in the '80s band, you know, the long hair. And,
awesome. I was hoping that's what it was going to be. Yeah. Well, that's really cool. Yeah, because that's a huge theme that kind of pops up in these issues as well. Is like there's a lot of photograph coverage of you. I'm trying to find other stuff here of you actually, you know, portraying these characters. Like I know for a fact this is you on the back of Delta Squadron 1, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look how epic that
was
photo
like an
is.
army.
I said
there was an army surplus store near my parents' place. I was living with my parents then, and so I asked my mom to drive me there because I didn't have a driver's license then, and I'd gotten like the outfits was like a kid bash from Army Surplus and stuff, and I said like in front of the Army Surplus store they had vehicles, like they had like an army truck, they had like an armored truck, and they had a Jeep, and it was in the boonies, like it was like fields behind, so you didn't know where it was. So it's like, well, I could take picture and you don't see the building.
Right.
So she went there, like I climbed into the Jeep, took the picture. It was a good thing my mom was there because the guy next door was doing security and came out with the dogs. And then my mom went to talk to him and said, it's just my son's doing like crazy pictures. And all right.
Yeah, here's so some more stuff of you in full garb.
Oh no.
And some action
small effects.
Yeah.
So, like the small characters, like the bunch of characters, that's all action figures. Like
that's cool.
Customized. And the plane obviously is a model kit with like held on string. But was like I was building up to get geared up to try to make my own movie. But at the time I didn't have a video camera or anything. But that wasn't that in that intent, like down the road. So a few years later I did. But at the time, I could only take pictures. Oh, yeah. Those some I was really taken in the subway. Like the guys are like on the top.
This is the band, right?
Picture there, yeah.
This is the band. It has to be.
From the rock band. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I love this photo of you here too. Super serious, in full ninja gear. I love it. I love the commitment to just taking the characters you created and then inhabiting them. You know, is cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. One thing I want to do just real quick, I know we're kind of bouncing all around here, but I definitely want to take some time to just quickly flip through some of the Phoenix stuff here because this might be, this is, I know for our audience, kind of probably only time they've seen this stuff because it's pretty rare. I had never come across it, and it is in French, so it never made its way down here. But this is issue number 2.
There was no point trying to distribute it further. Like I had a lot of returns that weren't sold that I could have, but I had them redistributed a few years later in Montreal. But since they're in French, then that basically canceled out the option to have it distributed south of the border or the rest of Canada.
Right. Yeah, this is awesome. So is this the sort of Star Wars storyline, the Stranox?
Yeah, Stranox, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was different comics I was reading that were like sci-fi, but I was a big Star Wars fan too, so there was a bit of a mashup of different influences. But I did my own designs and tried to make something of it.
Yeah, and one of the pages I bookmarked here, I'll just flip it through so you guys can take a little look through this, but there was one page in particular that I think it was right. Oh yeah, just like this is awesome.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah. It's just like full on. I mean, you can just already see like if you got the screen tone happening, right?
Yeah, really great screen tone work.
Yeah, totally. So meticulous. It just jumps off the page. And there's one part here. Oh, this I love. Obviously more of you. as a ninja here. But these panels here are freaking awesome. Let me bring these to the one page view. But yeah, these are great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Love that. And also what's awesome too about this is the back covers. Doing the color separations here are amazing. I mean, this would have made a great cover, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's super cool. Like, in
Well,
itself.
at first, so they told me like I was only doing the color separation for the front one. So, well, you know, it's the same. It won't cost any more if you do the back one too. It's on the same page, right? So I didn't
Why
figure
not?
it at the time. So in a rush, I just did one color.
Yeah.
But eventually, I did it in full color. But the first issue, I was kind of caught off guard, and then I should have done that. But okay, I'll make at least one color.
It's amazing. Yeah, some of them are so cool how they turned out. Like this one here too. This is obviously another great cover. This actually is the back. I just noticed. Yeah, or elements of the back. It looks like this is similar.
Yeah, because the back cover was advertising the next issue.
Right, of course. But this one, yeah, again, I love this. This page.
So great.
This page is great. Of course, it opens again, you know, with you, more ninja action. But the Stray Nox is awesome. But this issue kind of was really interesting to me because it had this whole silent ninja fight. You know, and there's lots of ninja fights going on in everything that you do. But this is really cool because it's just mostly dialogueless. You know, this whole fight, this whole like multi-page fight sequence is really freaking cool. Take a look at this.
I wanted like a special issue that was just ninjas. And at the time, I remember reading, there was an issue of the G.I. Joe when they introduced Storm Shadow and against Snake Eyes, and it was there were no dialogue. It was all image. I thought it was great.
That's like
it was
the
great
27, right? Is that issue 27? Issue 27? Is that the famous G.I. Joe silent one?
21.
21.
Yeah, 21. Yeah. It was a great
I love those G.I. Joe issues.
Silent G.I. Joes.
Like that whole run is like unbelievable.
It really is.
So that was a big influence for me. So I wanted to do my own. So and set it up in the the subway in Montreal.
Cool.
So I used some of the pictures we'd taken before. So some of the pictures that we took in the subway were in relation to that story.
So cool. Oh, I see. That's cool. Yeah, this is all just great. Yeah, visual.
So it's the same ninjas that are in the picture, like that my friend took the back cover. That it's in relation to that story. Like we went in the subway. This is just like cut up. Like it was just me. I changed costume a bit, and then I'd cut it up and add me a second time with the other costume because I was the only one in costume there, and my friends took the pictures there. And back then there were no subway police, so we got away with it.
Wow!
Like a few years later, forget it. But back then we got away with it.
I love that. And then number 4, that was number 3 we looked at. Here's number 4, and then this is when this lizard dude shows up, right?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, we gotta check out the back cover of the third one. Yeah, look how cool that color separation looks. So
this is really how I wish every comic looked.
I know. It's really true. It's really true.
It's fantastic.
That is so cool. Wow.
It's like the right amount of like information and like figures, like the distortion of the figures. It's just like really appealing.
Totally. And the color choices
are incredible.
Yeah, this like orange and pink is awesome. Yeah.
I was rushed. I'm just glad you like it.
No, it's
You were rushed, you said?
Well, the back cover.
You did it really fast.
I wasn't sure how long. I think it's just like an afterthought before I did the back covers in full color.
Perfect choice.
Yeah. It looks
and
great.
This is great too. Like just so cool. I remember when we saw these covers, we were like, "Holy shit!" Right? When I showed them on the other, I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. To do all the color separation and figure out the percentage. Like I had no idea. I had to guess with 4-color process between yellow, magenta, and cyan and black. like how much percentage I would use for certain blues or to get the greens. Nice warm red is like solid yellow and solid magenta.
Yeah.
And skin color took me, for Caucasian, it took me a couple of tries. It was actually 20% yellow and 10% magenta, and I got the perfect balance. Greens, there was a solid cyan, solid yellow. I still remember some of the codes. I had to mix and match, and sometimes I did the test in one cover, and then if it came out good, I used it again. If I wasn't quite happy, I tweaked it the next issue. So
Yeah.
that was also a big learning experience that introduced me to offset stripping and printing and color separation. I ended up like studying in that because to try to get a paid job, because that didn't pay anything.
Right.
Gotta love the anthropomorphic
This
lizard.
is a good education, though.
Yeah.
I love that character.
Oh, me too. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask too is like I kind of noticed like, and maybe it's another action figure line, or is it just kind of a Masters of the Universe thing where there are a lot of like skull figures?
Yeah. I wasn't too, like, I don't know, like in high school I was into skulls for some reason, and so I was I loved like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and I love Star Wars. I mashed up the Emperor Palpatine with Skeletor. So it's
Skeletor.
Emperor Skeletor, you know?
Emperor Skeletor. That should have been your friend's band name. Here, also like this too. This character is amazing too because he kind of reminds me of that, Skeletor, or like this toy. I feel like I've seen and possibly purchased.
I think it was an influence between Skeletor and Hobgoblin. I was reading Spider-Man too. Totally. There was like a whole year that was with Hobgoblin, and I thought it was really cool.
Look at that!
And I wanted to have an evil ninja, and more important, so I gave him like samurai armor, and so there was like Lord Kamikaze.
Look at this. I mean, this is like some Jim Rugg. Jim Rugg would get a kick out of this, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh my God.
What were you using, Andre, for inking here? It looks like a lot of brush, but also some pen too, or was it mostly just brush?
Back then, I was using a bit of both. Like I had like those old-fashioned metal tip brush that I bought at the. You change the tip on your handle and you dipped in ink bottles, and I was using old-fashioned brushes.
Wow.
So at the time, I was stuck having to use different size brushes if I wanted like finer details and like a smaller one, and a bigger detail like a medium, and then a bigger one for all the big shadowy areas. Nowadays, I use a nice pencil one that does everything, and it's got cartridges. I just changed the cartridge, ink cartridge, and it works wonderful. There was like a coworker in animation, and he recommended it, and that was the best art supply recommendation and advice I ever got. I do all my comics with it now.
Oh, wow.
But, back then it was a pain in the butt, like ink bottles and changing pens and changing all the time.
But some of these compositions, like the framework here too, is like bonkers, right?
Yeah.
Like, and all these kind of.
I tried to do like different, like I tried to experiment with different shaped, panels. Like I was getting tired of rectangles, and it's like I'm gonna try something different. Like sometimes it's all right, for just regular pages, but
there you go, Jason.
I wanted to do something a bit different at times.
Yeah, it's really, really, really awesome. Oh, love that there's a pentagram that shows up.
Yeah.
Gotta have a pentagram that shows up at some point. This is great too.
Psychic.
Yeah, this is great too. Yeah, look at that. I mean, come on.
Amazing.
Like just with that lizard dude and the gun just going to town. I mean, this is just like freewheeling imagination in the 80s. Like we don't get this kind of imagination anymore. People don't sit around and just like think about Uzis and lizards and stuff, And I'm glad that you did. This is great because I think this is also very G.I. Joe. What you were talking about?
Yeah.
Because here you're getting the schematics and the blueprints. Of really kind of building your world here. Like, you're showing this, And it's all meticulously detailed. Like, you know, you have the legend.
They had like an issue of G.I. Joe where they had like a cut, a drawing, like something similar for the pit, like their base that was on the ground. And it was a, what's the term, like a cut like that, like, you know, you see all the levels, cross section of the entire base, and it's like, oh, I got to have one of those. I got to make myself one of those.
Yeah, and this is awesome too. The vehicle, I mean, this is like top 10 power. This is number 1 on the top 10 power vehicles.
This is amazing.
Like, here it is.
They should have a vehicle, but they can't necessarily have something to. They need something to carry more than one person, like more than just the jet. And it should be a bit, be able to drive and go over terrain. So it's like, okay, it's gonna be an overcraft, you know,
like
and a car.
Yeah. Like if I was a kid, you know, and like saw this, like Skull Guy, lightsabers, Lizard Man. You know, like I'm down. I'm buying all these toys. I'm buying this movie. I mean, this is a whole universe here. One more, just because we're just getting to the end here. Here's the 5th final one. You said the one that did actually pay for itself, right? You said that? Yeah,
but it was like I couldn't publish the 6th. I had to stop there because I only got the sales from the 4th one when I published this one. So I had no idea how well it would sell, but I knew that the previous one had sold so poorly that I was losing a lot of money, and I'd already lost a lot of money with the other ones. So I had to call it quits and stop there.
And you can really see that the kind of Delta Squadron-esque, you know, like with the brush technique and the clothing is really coming through now. And you're really starting to kind of find that, like, Delta Squadron, like, you know, I don't know, it's just starting to look more like Delta Squadron to me with this, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, well, you know, the style evolves through time, and it was like I did Delta Squadron not that long after, like 2 years after.
Right.
So, you know, so I did a few comics in between that for friends' fanzines that didn't get published, but eventually I did the Delta Squadron later on. And,
yes.
You know, I did.
That's great. Wow.
Oh, and Varan, it's from Varanus. It's a Komodo dragon. That's the French term, like but it's from the scientific term, like Varanus. But so I wanted to have like something that was a little reminiscent of Cobra, but like, you know, a 5-letter word that also like was after was also a representative of a dangerous animal, like in a reptile. So it's like, well, I'll take the Varan. I found it's cool. You know, it's dangerous and it's a big lizard. And, so they made experiment and made giant ones. So
our good friend Will Holloway asks, how often did these Phoenix issues come out? Like whenever they were done, or were you on a schedule for them?
I was attempting to keep a regular schedule with Phoenix. So since I wasn't obligated to pay the printing costs in full, they accepted like a deposit. All my savings paid like half the printing cost of the first one, half the second one. After that, I was paying about a third. And then I had a contract with the distributor so that the money from the sales would go directly to them. So they accepted to keep publishing because at least money was kept coming in, you know, even though I could not afford to pay in full upfront. That changed when I did the Delta Squadron, but for Phoenix, I was able to publish every second month.
I know.
So I was always working on the next one before an issue was in the stores. So.
I know one question that's probably on everybody's mind who's watching this right now is that is it possible for anyone who may be watching this who may want copies of Phoenix? Do you have copies, or are you running low?
I just have a handful left. So literally, like, you know, maybe half a dozen, 8 package tops.
Oh wow! So these are very, very rare then. So you gotta get out there, guys, and pound some pavement up there in Quebec and try and find them. But one thing before we get to the movie side of things, I also, just because I wanted to take this opportunity just to flip through Delta Squadron 2 because this is up until yesterday when I got your package. Thank you so much for sending this in.
You're welcome.
This was my first time ever seeing it. I mean, I've had this for years. Maybe I've had this probably for about 10 years. But I've always kind of seen low-res JPEGs of this issue around the internet, but never been able to get my hands on it until now. So I wanted to kind of just take people through it a little bit, just so they can kind of see.
Just for fun, this is me against me against me.
Oh,
amazing.
Well, that's
a colleague of my father had done comics when he was young, and my father got me in touch with him, and he was living in that apartment, like a big apartment building, like downtown Montreal. So I asked him, like, I was preparing the comic, and could I take pictures on the top floor, to make like in those ninja movies when they're always fighting on the top of a skyscraper. So I went over and he took the pictures. So I changed I changed the costume, but all that I needed to change was like, belts and hoods and stuff. And we took several pictures, and then I had to cut it up with scissors because back then there were no Photoshop. So it was all done by hand. So I cut up with scissors, and since it was overcast, there wasn't really much shadow. So I got away with it, So
Amazing.
it was all done by hand. And then I did the photo montage and had that at the photo place to have the color separation done and the
that's
logo
amazing.
added, send it to the printer, and yeah. So I'm pretty happy with how it came out.
Oh my God, I would not have known, even looking at this, that this was actually a photo montage. I mean, I thought it was just a picture you just happened to have taken, and with two of your other buddies. But one thing I wanted to bring up, because this is setting the perfect tone for when we get to our main event tonight, which is looking at Delta Squadron 2, the movie on VHS. And yes, don't worry, we're going to be firing up the Power Comics TV here shortly. But one thing about it is that, what people are going to learn is that you play 95% of the characters in this movie. And so I ran out
of extras. I had a lot more extras in the first one, but I ran out of favors, and hardly anybody was interested. So I had a cameraman who did not want to be in front of the camera, and I had a friend that was like the opponent when there's like two of us in front of the camera.
Yeah,
so that's my other friend.
Well, we're going to see fight scenes where it's you fighting you, because there is that in there, which I love, and that's like the spirit of backyard filmmaking when you are fighting yourself in the movie.
I wanted it completed, and there were a lot of scenes where I couldn't get anybody out there. So it's like I had scenes, and like, I need those scenes, but they're not major scenes. So it's like, all right, fine. I had a mannequin. I actually had a mannequin. I was cutting the head off.
I love that. So, we have that. We're going to look at the mannequin.
One, no?
Yeah, we have that. We have mannequins that we're going to be showing later.
So for those those were like character build-up scenes. Like, you see the good guy, how he handles like the bad guys, and he's not killing. And then the bad guy, well, the security guards get like, okay. So,
amazing.
But those weren't major. So like when I had the fight scene, then I called in my friends, and we had at least 2 people in front of the camera at least. But everybody else I had in the first one that they were done.
They were done. They were done. Well, let's take a look through this, because obviously this is cool too. You of course have the character bios. Can't have a Delta Squadron comic without some character bios, which I love. Which introduces obviously the faction. You have the ninja character, the clairvoyant character, the sort of non-vet character, and the Daredevil couple. And in this issue, which is super cool, is that it's all about this terrorist attack, right? That's going to hit this dam, which is a great setup for this story, because what it does is it kind of, well, here's, they're contacting the government saying, we have a bomb set, and there's like these like nuclear sensors or something, or heart monitors. Is that what it is? Or something like
that. So if you shoot us, it's gonna blow up anyway. So you don't,
Right.
Try to figure out a way where it's not that easy to take them out.
No, we're not going to watch the full movie, Will. We're going to watch a couple clips tonight, so don't worry. We have a couple clips set aside. We're not going to watch the whole two-hour feature film here. But yeah, so then the government kind of, is like, all right, I guess we got to pay him. But and then here we cut to the Daredevil crew, which is awesome. Just seeing them get to hang out, talking about their next stunt and what it should be like, and getting prepared for that. And then things are getting a little sexy here.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, as they're having just this casual dialogue scene, actually, which is cool. They're just talking about it. And then of course we cut to our Nam character, Nam vet character, who's always hungry for action, looking for the next thing to rage on. And
Next thrill.
This page is awesome to me.
That's great.
It's so good. It's just so cool. This mostly dialogueless page where the clairvoyant character is now staring into her mirror. And of course, we covered it on the last video when we were talking about the first issue, that the dialogue is always backwards when she speaks, which is really sweet. That's a nice touch. And she's sensing, I think, that things are going down and this dam is about to explode. It's great. It looks like a Whitesnake video or something here.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of telepathically communicates to the rest of the Delta Squadron gang to, like, we got to stop this dam, get on our hover bike, and all this stuff. And so then they sort of reunite. And then she even calls out to the ninja character, who I think is off in Japan. Is that right? Does that ring a bell?
Well, I imagine him is over here, but it's just like he's in the. Well, you got these ninja movies where there's like a temple, but it's in California somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
Right.
in Asia. So it's like,
Love
well, we
that.
got the Chinese garden at the Botanical Garden in Montreal, so maybe they got like a nice building somewhere nearby.
Right.
It doesn't have to be like in Asia per se. So anyway, he's close enough that he can come and help. He doesn't have to take the plane for 15 hours.
Yeah.
Totally.
Otherwise, that's
Oh.
a little bit of a problem.
That shot is great of the sword being withdrawn.
Oh my God.
So good.
This whole page is wild. The perspective.
Yeah.
On the faces
great.
too. It's
It's really
awesome.
great.
Yeah, and more ninja action, of course. And then now they're at they're at the site of the dam, and they're preparing to. This is amazing. What they're trying to do is that I think the clairvoyant character is going to make them all invisible, so they can go in and actually defuse the bomb, and that's how they're going to get past this this trial here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's right?
Yeah. So that they're not noticed by the terrorists, so the terrorists don't know what's going on. They think everything's fine, so they won't blow it up.
And this
then
is very
you see
G.I.
who's
Joe.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this obviously...
My knockoff Nazi Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
I love it.
Love it too. But meanwhile, this is kind of like these guys are kind of like, they kind of know what they're doing and they know what they're up to, right? And they're sort of like,
Yep.
Our plan is like, they're kind of controlling everything. Like these pages are amazing. Early bird.
Yeah, they're really fantastic.
They're really
every single one too. You
every
don't
single-
really,
Yeah.
you don't take a break at all, Andre. Every single page is like 100%. Like you're giving it your all.
Yeah. It's great. And then there's obviously got to have the time for the ninja fight.
Yep,
And
showdown.
Yep. And then now they're kind of getting away to safety here, but then she gets exhausted from making them invisible. Spellcasting.
Yeah, and then
Spell
they're
fatigue.
visible again, so they get shot at.
And they get shot at down here, and then kind of the action takes off from there, which is awesome. So many vehicles, and then this is great. Wow, yeah, really, really. Jeff Miller asks, did you have any specific comic artist influence?
Oh yeah, I want to know that too.
I can't recall. Yeah, I'm sure I did. I mean, anything that I was reading at the time would have been an influence. I did not keep track of specific comics that I was reading that were a big specific influence. When I saw something that I thought was interesting and I liked, I would often try to mimic in my own style. Sometimes it would just be panels here and there. Sometimes it would be the way some characters were drawn. So it was several. It varied from time to time and from issue to issue, and from what I was reading. But I cannot recall exactly what was influencing me specifically at the time.
Got
It's
it.
interesting because in the mid 80s, a lot of comic art was moving toward the pen as like the primary tool for inking, whereas in like the 50s and 60s with EC comics, it was really brush dominant. So your stuff doesn't really look like anything else from the 80s to me. It has like this really, these sweeping brush strokes that really wasn't being used too much, I think, in the 80s as much. So your stuff really stands out quite a bit.
I always enjoyed working with the brush, and I wanted to have like strong shadows and strong contrasts.
Strong shadows and storm shadows.
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I kept doing that. So I still loved working with the brush above all for inking.
Mm-hmm.
And I still do like having a lot of shadows and nice contrast and dark shapes and more than just line work. So I try to work with to have like light and dark in every character or panel.
All right. Well, I think it's time that we take a look and we fire up the Power Comics television and look at a little bit of Delta Squadron 2. Now, this is the sequel to a movie you already made, which you mentioned. And yeah, I just I don't know what I was expecting. Like I said, I was expecting maybe a 20-minute, 30-minute short film based on the world, which you've covered in the comics. But no, it was a nearly 2-hour production in which you inhabit 90% of the characters, and it's really amazing. And we're about to take a look at it because it's like it must have taken you. Like, how long did this take you to make? Like a year? Like, I mean, it must have.
Well, it took me a couple of years because, like, the first one, the problem is like, well, you film in the summer, and all I had to film like during the weekends, especially for scenes with people, with my friends in it. Well, it was, however, a few I had left to do this one. It was still on the weekends and in the summer because like the instant you start fall, like end of September, the leaves start to change color. May it's not in bloom yet enough, so you got like till I got June, July, August, so that the vegetation looks fine, and so that shots done at the end don't seem to stand out and oddly with shots done at the beginning, because sometime in the editing you're gonna mix and match whatever depending on what I had time to film at the time. So and what was your like ultimate hope for this? Was like, let's have a comic series, let's have a movie, was it kind of to create that all-encompassing Delta Squadron world? Well, yeah. Well, I had to reinvent Delta Squadron for the film because I couldn't afford to do it exactly like in the comics. In the comics, you draw. You got pencils and brush. You make what you want. In the film, I had to work with make my own special effects. I used miniatures. I used toys I had. I had to figure out what the terrorists would look like because I couldn't afford to have them look like in the comics.
Right.
It would have been too expensive. So, like I bought a bunch of overalls at Walmart and rubber boots and ski masks, and they'll all look the same. And I sewed like a handmade armband so that they would have the design of the logo of the terrorists on them. And I had a couple of bad guys that were more specific. And I made sure that the heroes, like at least the ninja and the commando, were the commando was based on the outfit that I bought in Army Surplus, and I made pictures in Phoenix and Delta Squadron. So I already had the outfit. I even had the outfit for the ninja. So at least I had these two, But other characters, that was more difficult.
Yeah.
Like the sidekick, I went more like gypsy, fortune teller, and
that's right.
the soccer mom, but I turned her into more like a martial arts with like a camo outfit with a mask,
Soccer mom.
But yeah.
Oh no. But yeah. So, but yeah, one thing we're about to see, and we should definitely get to it now, is oh yeah, and if Andre, and I'm gonna have to put him on the spot now, but if he's ever into the idea of uploading it to YouTube, we definitely would facilitate that. But yeah, you're about to see, and we're gonna look at this, is meticulousness on a level which is so great. Like this do-it-yourself backyard attitude, mixed media, mixing action figures with real life and models and force perspective and all. It's all the great backyard tricks of making your own movie. So let's put the tape in the Power TV here. I'm gonna do it right here, and here we go. And we're gonna fire up the Power TV. Make sure you guys let me know when I start playing this here if you can hear it. Just want to make sure the audio is working. But right off the bat, Andre, there was a pretty foreboding disclaimer on the front of the movie that I'm going to fire it up here. Here we go.
Oh, I think I did the gag with that. Yeah.
There is an AIDS warning. So if you if you have unauthorized use of this, you will inject AIDS into your VCR. That's great.
Audio is good.
Okay, great. And obviously there's the Enderpool logo, which is amazing.
Wow.
Love it. And this is the actual opening to the film, so we can take a look at this here. So there you go, right off the bat. I love it. This is everything I hoped it would be.
This is amazing.
It is. How long has it been since you've seen this?
Wow.
See the transition there between
Yeah,
toy and
that was
toy?
great.
Yeah,
Returning from his business trip.
so cool.
Wow, this is fantastic.
I know.
Oh my god, this is so good.
And that's you, obviously. You're playing these characters.
So those were photograph cutouts. Like I
Oh.
took pictures of me in costume, I cut them up, and then I put them in the background and a small model, so the truck would drive by.
And I love the locations you choose in this whole movie. Like, you're going around finding places, what looks like a base, what looks like a, like you're
That was
finding.
a bus terminal. I wouldn't have tried that a few years later, but back then I got away with it. There was like a.
Look at,
Yeah.
awesome. And
Another-
that's the photo.
yeah,
Wow.
that was
The
another
photo
cutout.
cutout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then
in my
works.
basement.
And then look at photo cutout standing in front of,
Yeah.
looking at the monitor. Love it. Amazing. Yeah, this is real deal.
Unbelievable.
So that was the first little bit I pulled there. Now let's take a look at this is like I was firing this up, and this was like a ninja fight, which I think is just between you, and yourself. But there's this amazing
I
scene
couldn't
here.
have extras all the time.
No, it's great. This is the way it should be. And you're storming this like awesome temple. Kind of one of the temples we were talking about. Just that happens to be in the middle of some metropolitan western city. But this is great. So check this out, Ben. You're gonna love this. I actually posted this on Instagram earlier, but you're gonna check it out. So take a look. There's the temple, and you see.
I love that.
Yep. There's you, and you.
Yes.
And these costumes. Did you make all these costumes?
Yep.
Wow.
Incredible.
Back, I would go to like a fabric store, go on the back wall, whatever was on sale. If it looked cool, I'd buy enough, and I'd sew up the costume. Once I had made one, I could use that as a template for any other one. What's fun with ninja costumes is they're
Look at
Loose.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to make sure we caught the decapitation there. Oh, and you're falling out of the tree with the
Whoa.
arrow? Yeah. And this is great, too.
Oh,
Join your friends.
Yes.
yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's so great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the costumes are. Oh, look at this. Temple burns, and you can see the figure dangling there.
Oh yeah.
See? Yeah. God, man, the world is not as cool as it used to be. I will tell
No.
you that right now. This makes me want to like get outside and like, you know, I don't know if you could get outside swinging a sword and so much in 2021, but
No.
probably get like shot or stunned or tiki torched. Okay, so the next this next clip I pulled is awesome. It's like I was like, man, this scene was crazy because of the narration, but it really built a mood and an atmosphere, and I was like trying to find the end point, like, okay, here, can I just sample like a little 2-minute piece that I can just show, but it just kept going and going and going. So this is you'll have to explain this character or what the influences were here, but this kind of took my breath away here. So let's take a look at this part.
And on this
Like, now we're in Egypt,
to
you know,
seek
or whatever,
refuge
you know?
in an
And this character is just
Egyptian
great with the
tomb,
leopard and just
a
like
place
trouncing down the
feared
dunes
by
here.
the superstitious ways of my kins. I knew then that they would not follow me there, and that I would
Whoa.
then be safe for a time.
Yeah. Oh, just wait.
I soon
That-
discovered that I was in
Another
the
photo
tomb
caught up.
of
That
priest
is
of
cool. I was like, am I
Anubis,
watching Stalker right now?
Egypt.
Like, look at
Oh wow.
god of embalming.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, these hieroglyphs, which I'm guessing you
printed on
drew.
the walls
Yeah, that's all.
to
I
describe
got.
my
Oh,
arrival
amazing.
and how I was to use the
It was shot in my
instructions
basement.
written on a parchment
So amazing.
My parents' basement.
held by the
Oh
mummy
my God, this is
in order
amazing.
to bring
It's,
it
and then
back
it's
to
no,
life
it's amazing.
after 3,000
Yeah,
years.
people are freaking out right now. As they
Being
should be.
desperate in the knowledge
Yeah.
that my
I always had a
essence
thing for ancient Egypt.
would not be held
yeah, I
back
mean-
by superstitions for long. I decided to follow the prophecy for this.
This is the perfect use for
Wow.
the.
revive
Oh, look at this
could
for the Power
defend me
TV.
against my enemies and
Whoa.
perhaps save my life. Therefore, I
Yeah, crazy
prepare
ambitious. Very true. There's so much ambition and heart and
with
soul
great
into all of this. I couldn't believe it when I was watching it.
To my utter amazement, I witnessed a miracle of ancient
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then the mummy
Yes.
comes to life.
me.
Yes.
But
And then this, I love that. Even though that's like paper towel things, I think, but I love
Yeah.
that. I love it. It works so well.
That the 3,000
Yeah,
years
it's
old
great.
prophecy had
This
been
should be at the MoMA.
fulfilled.
Seriously.
As
I
feared
agree.
the
Right?
This is a work of art.
It
Yeah.
is.
that my
100%
death
this is
was
work.
more
This is art.
important
This is
than
art.
an old superstition.
This
An
is-
order
It was like a
his
sand pit in
warriors
a new
to
residential
follow him to the
area
tomb
being built.
where they would
It's like,
try
oh, there's sand.
to
Hey, I
take
can
my life.
pretend it's in Egypt.
But there they only
Oh my
met
God.
with their own death. Afterwards,
Delta Squadron.
Oh
we
no.
fled to Romania,
Yeah, yeah.
away from a world.
And then I gotta
that
run away to
would not
Romania or
accept us.
whatever.
There
Like, now we're in
we took
Romania?
refuge in an abandoned
Yeah,
castle.
just awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
That scene I was transfixed at 2:30 in the morning. All right. This is great. Okay, this is maybe my favorite
Oh,
piece
wow.
of the movie. So got to save the best. Well, this is just I have other little tiny clips, but this moment here really seals the deal on the this transcends to art. This is art, where I believe it's the clairvoyant character and the ninja character, and she's kind of locking in their thoughts or something, and it cuts between them meditating and them in like the astral world using action figures in their
Oh,
consciousness.
nice.
Oh.
And this is This is genuinely, I'm smiling because I love it, but genuinely, this is amazing. So get ready, guys. This kind of took my breath away. Here, check it out. Oh, yeah. Starts off with that, too.
Great.
I feel
Check
as
this
if
out.
I'm floating, like my body is submerged in seawater.
Oh my
So
God.
strange, just like last time.
Do not think about your body. Forget that you have one. Relax and empty
yes,
your mind
please.
of random thoughts.
Are we dreaming?
No, we really are on the astral plane.
This place,
Yes.
is it real?
Yeah.
Is it
This
a place
is-
on Earth or the product of our thoughts?
We gotta call the MoMA.
But
Seriously.
your thoughts still transform its appearance. You have to relax your mind, to let go of your inner turmoil if we really want to see its true face.
Yeah, I mean, and then I did a little edit there, but this is how it
You
ends.
would need to be as indifferent and neutral as death.
Whoa.
So, yes.
Oh man.
I love
Incredible.
that. I love that so much. And for the final sampling of the 2-hour epic that is Delta Squadron 2, yeah, fucking genius. I cut together just like 3 of my favorite, like utilizing the actors and the action figures, because I think it goes between the actors and the action figures. I really dug. That's when I was like, I'm into this. So here's a couple of moments of that, and then you're going to see the credits of the film at the end, which shows that you played 87 characters in this freaking movie. All right, here we go. Here is a couple of great little moments here. Okay, yeah, this Ed 209 thing. Like controlling this robot.
Whoa.
I know. It's like you're puppeteering it looks like.
Yeah, well, I used like whatever bits and pieces was in the workshop, and I used bolts and
look
nuts
at
and bolts and put it together to make a sort of a robot.
Look at this.
That's so cool.
Look at this.
Oh yes.
So that's unbelievable. And then this was great too. This is a real good hybrid of the figure and the actor.
Oh,
So the car goes down, the figure, and then
catches.
yeah, figure, actor, like.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like, love it. And then guy up top in the chopper. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Like, save the thing, save the dude so he can fly away. Like, yeah. And then the guy watching in the boat, like, and then you're playing all these characters. And then here's you again. This is fucking great. He's like, all right, time to get out there. And then you just, like, muscle right into this starship here.
Nice.
Yeah. And this is just great. I was digging this, too. Wow. Look at these cockpits.
Whoa.
Yeah, Thunderbirds. Like ninjas flying like awesome spaceships. I mean, it's G.I. Joe, I guess, but it's just amazing. Oh, so what were you editing these on? Like, is this like? Don't tell me it's VCR to VCR.
This, yeah. I was working from the
God.
full-size VHS camcorder hooked up to my VCR.
Whoa.
And dubbing, audio and video dubbing options on the camcorder. So the first movie I had access to an edit controller at school, but I was done school then. I did not have access to that for the second one. So I did all the editing at home with my VCR and my camcorder.
For you youngsters out there who are watching this, when you're editing from VCR to VCR, the margin of error is insane in terms of like
I
timing
had
when
to
the heads
calculate
kick in.
exactly. It took about 2 seconds for the VCR to start rolling, so I had to back up and check the timer, like like the time gauge on the VCR.
Yeah, like when
And
it's
then start click on the record at 49 seconds, so that by 51 seconds it would be running and rolling. So it took a bit of tweaking and practice, but I
Wait.
did the best I could.
Let me pause this here because I forgot about this. You also have to throw in at the end, here's a ninja cake recipe, here's a ninja party game idea, and a ninja test of willpower. Pick a bag of Oreo cookies, take out one of the cookie, put it on your mouth, chew it and swallow without eating the white stuff first. That's a... I love how that's in this movie. You know, like,
Oh man,
this is the best movie ever. Yeah,
incredible.
I know. This is
I'm
just
like-
the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
Tip of the iceberg, Ben.
blown away.
I know. Ben, I don't know what to do.
It's unbelievable. I mean, just the level of commitment that you have to have in order to execute something like this is the highest level that a human can have. It's
It's true.
unbelievable.
It's true because it's like technology's working against you. You're
Yeah.
in the 80s, so your resources are like, whatever's just like
Nothing.
sitting around in your house, and
Yeah.
but it's that will and that passion to be like, I love, ninjas,
Totally.
Uzis, and lizards, and I got to do it. I have to do it, and that and to
Totally.
stay committed to it for 2 movies, 2 2-hour movies. Having no
I did more.
staff, yeah, I'm sure you did. No,
Oh my God.
no staff, no actors, no nothing. But like, you're making the costumes, you're ordering the weapons, you're buying the toys, painting the toys, building the robots, and then dubbing VCR to VCR and drawing comics and paintings and more. Whoa, I
Yeah.
mean that's a whoa, and it's amazing. I mean, yeah, it's mind blowing. It's like
Yeah, the cr-
yeah, where you been? Where have you been my whole life?
the creative willpower that it takes to make something like that is like,
Yeah.
it's hard to fathom. It's incredible. Wow.
It was a passion. Kept me busy for a while till needed to pay
Underselling.
bills.
Underselling.
Yes.
It is a immense passion. It's just on that level of dedication and just like love of your craft and love of the universe that you're building, which is so cool. It's like, you've built, like, you started building it with Phoenix, then you built it with Delta Squadron, and now it's a movie, and it's cool how just that you stay committed to your own ideas. Sometimes that's hard to do because people doubt themselves or it didn't quite work. But no, like the clairvoyant character makes its way into there. Everything you've built in this world like makes it in, which is just, it's cool. It's really cool. And to look at it now, I know it's almost like 35 plus years, I hate to say, but at the same time, it's just like we don't experience anything like this anymore, and that's sad, or
Yeah.
you do, but it's not on this level of, it is like nobody would have the passion or the span to really do that, I feel like, nowadays, because our culture has changed. So it's just really cool to see. I think that's why everyone here is responding to it in such a cool way. So there you go. That's the end of my promo, but it's awesome.
Hands down.
Yeah. Does anybody have here any questions? Final questions here for André? We're gonna wrap things up, and I mean, definitely, like, oh shit. Before we do, hang on to those questions. I also wanted to bring up one more thing. Sorry. Because you did mention this to me when we first spoke. You wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things you've been doing now.
Oh yes, please. Let's talk about
Well,
this.
I kept going. I mean, I've kept doing other. I got the. That's the first video. That's the first one.
Oh,
wait.
wow.
Wait here. Show that again. Show that again.
I kept
Sorry.
going. I did like a revamp Delta Squadron in the 90s.
You
I
did?
like mini comics at
Oh, right.
first.
Oh wow.
And I did a few issues of those.
Here, hold those up again.
So
I'm
I
gonna
did
make
like
you
a
big.
mini series for a while, and then I did other comics too. I did
Oh my
other series
God.
too that had different characters and
Oh my
different
God, it keeps
styles
going.
over the years.
More skulls, more
And,
lizards in different decades.
So that's the end of that's the apocalypse of my universe here. So,
Oh no.
it's like, well, that was I did that in 2012, but it took me 4 years. So I had started in 2008, and I wanted like a one big final adventure. In that time period, I lost both my parents to cancer. So in the end, I just wanted everything done. And I did a big story where I connected all the characters from all my other series. I had other series that were different styles, more fantasy or more realistic and more humor. And they had cameos in each other's series at some point. So I made connections over the years. So I did this one last story where everything goes bad, and last big battle, and they all die. After that, I stopped drawing for a few years after I lost my parents. But we would go like to have me and my family would go like to have a snack and go to the bookstore, and my kids and my wife always had like a sketchbook, and we're drawing. And I felt a bit dumb being the only one not drawing after drawing since I was a kid. So gradually, I got like a sketchbook. I started drawing again. And eventually, I started creating new characters. And my son suggested, well, maybe you should make new comics from those characters. And maybe you should create yourself a new universe. So I did. So for the last 6 years, I've been doing new comics, and I've got like another page. Like I got 4 ongoing series. I got some originals here. Like I got
Just
one
4.
that's the 3rd issue. That's a new character.
Oh yeah, I have that. I have that here somewhere. Hold on. This one right here, right?
Those. Yeah. Perfect. Oh, that's great. Beautiful. Because those some of the new series that I developed in the last 6 years. And before that, I did the comics for my son because when he started elementary, he had like these ideas about having his own comic. So as I was finishing DELTA SQUADRON and all my other series and that big book, that like graphic novel, it was like an apocalypse. I also did my son's comics based on his ideas. He would tell me the stories, which characters were in it. So I did I did this whole series. Wanted 4 issues. So I did one before that year in 2011. Did this first issue before Halloween. I did the second one before Christmas. I did the 3rd one for Easter, and the last one just before he finished school. And we showed that to his classmates. I was invited to do a presentation with him at the school library.
That's amazing.
And then 2 years later, he had ideas for a 5th issue, and I did one, and then we did another presentation. And 2 years later, after that, one last issue that he did a school project about. So that I was very proud of. And in the meantime, then I started doing other new series and new comics. So I never really stopped. I stopped for a few years, but I started. Now I'm getting back into it, so I'm still enjoying creating new characters and stories, and so like the Les Champions, like one of the champions, like one of those series. Now I started to include the characters. I had so much fun with the GI Joes. Like I wanted to have my own GI Joe type character, so I'm developing characters. I don't have the anyway. So I'm gonna publish that later this year, where I had like characters. But not publishing. Sorry, just on the blog because that's the only thing I can afford right now.
Well, I just put I just copied and pasted your website address, the blog spot, there in the chat. So if anyone wants to look at Andre's website, it's there. Andre, one thing we haven't really talked about, but Power Comics is getting into the publishing space. Very soon, we're going to announce some more information. We're actually going to be republishing some of our favorite comics from the 80s, and boy, oh boy, would we love to work with you on some reprints of these fine comics here that we all love. I'm sure everybody in the power community would definitely support that 100%. So
100%.
we should keep that conversation going as well, because we'd love to get your work out there and have more people see that. So definitely want to do that. But one thing I wanted to ask is, you did talk about your parents, and I have to imagine like your parents observing your creation of making all these things and your comics and your movies and everything. Like were your parents involved in the creation of your art at all?
No, I think they were just happy I wasn't getting in trouble.
Were they supportive? They supported it?
Well, they supported it by not charging me rent while I lived with them. And,
that's important.
That is important.
Yeah, you need that.
PR to calm the neighbors so they wouldn't call the police.
Oh my God. Of course.
But, well, not to that point, but they saw me like jump off the roof of the house and run around the costume, and I rode on the hood of the car of one of my friends in one of the scenes in the first one.
Whoa!
And I had the guy with the camcorder in the ditch, so that when the camera is more closer to the ground, the car looks like it's going faster. So we did stunts like that around the house. So but like my mother would tell me, like neighbors' kids wanted to jump off the roof of their house too, and then their mother, no.
Oh, of course.
So,
man,
yeah.
I got to get my hands on that first Delta Squadron movie at some point. Somehow we got to make a dupe of that or something, because we got to preserve that, because now I've definitely like digitized and preserved this for all eternal sake. We have to do that for the first one for sure. So. Well, all right, guys. I think that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Unless Ben, do you have anything else you want to add on this wild trip we've had tonight?
I just wanted to ask real quick, Andre, about your paintings, some of which we can see over your shoulder.
Oh yeah,
really impressed with those paintings you've done. And can you just talk a little bit about your interest in painting and like illustration in that way?
Well, my interest in the painting was more in relation to being able to have a nice, colorful cover. I always admired the artwork. I always admired the artwork of of all things, like the G.I. Joe packaging. They always had like a beautiful painting of the characters, of the vehicles. It was beautiful art. I always loved it. I always wished I had enough talent to do something that was half as good.
You do, don't worry.
I tried my best with color, but it's not my prime medium. So I'm better with brush and ink. But to have like a cover, I wanted something like a painting, more. So that's why I started way back. Like the back cover of the second issue of Delta Squadrons got one. I started using acrylic at that point. Like the first one was like watercolor, but I didn't like how it came out. So I started using acrylic. And I like how it comes out better, but it's not like my best. I'm better with brush and ink. So, but the second issue has got a better painting on the back cover. If you want to show that instead. But
you mean this one?
Second issue, yeah, number 2.
Oh yeah, that is gorgeous.
Yeah, I love it. So cool.
Yeah, so I started using acrylic then, and so when I do one, then I normally use that. So I did for my son, I did all the covers like an acrylic painting on canvas.
Wow.
And for my comics, at some point, for the new ones, I might at some point do some, but so far I just have time for the story, but. Since it's on the blog, I haven't bothered with making a cover for those. But for my son, I was actually printing a few copies so that he could give them to his classmates.
Wow!
So that's why I did the cover for them.
How old is your son?
Well, now he's a teenager. But when I first did his comics, it was like in 2011. It was only 6 years old. So by now he's like 15, but back then he was starting school. So when he had his first ideas for his miniseries, he came up with the names of his characters, the designs. He had sketches.
Oh wow!
Well, he lost interest in comics since then, but back then he was really excited about it.
Is he really into like ninjas and stuff too? Like you are? Do you guys share that?
Not that. Well, he likes ninjas, but it was more like an 80s things. He's more into Gundams and Transformers and Halo and
right.
But
Yeah.
it's
Generation.
cool. I like those too. But it's
Yeah.
not it's easy for me to get interested in the things that he loves because it's still pretty close to the stuff that I grew up loving back then.
Right.
So, he loves the G.I. Joes too. Like I got him a whole bunch of them when I was able to get when they redid the small ones again and
Yes.
whatever we could find and afford. And even some of the big ones. I got a bunch 10, 15 years ago on eBay, and most of my display cabinets is those that I managed to get my hands on to replace the ones that I given up or lost or blown up in the movies.
Blown up. Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Andre. Obviously, you have an open door invite anytime you want back on the show, or if you want to go through your paintings, we want to go through more of the movies. We'd be happy to have you back on anything. Doesn't matter what it is. You're always welcome back. And if, we got to continue that, publishing conversation as well, because we'd love to get that stuff back out there into the world if we can in some way. I also wanted to mention that Andre was grateful enough that I'm going to scan some of these issues. I'm going to scan Delta Squadron 2 and maybe some of the Phoenixes, and we're going to share some of those on the Patreon. So that's a big plus. So thank you for that. So if you want to sign up for the Patreon, you can definitely check out some of his work in high-res detail there as well. I'm probably going to put up Delta Squadron 2 tomorrow. So if you haven't signed up for patreon.com/powercomics, you can do that. And otherwise, I guess, Andre, thank you so much for, it was quite the journey to get the materials, shipped all the way down here to New York. But thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. It blew my mind. I was not expecting the movies and Phoenix and all this just to be, I only thought there was only these 2 issues of Delta Squad. I had no idea there was this whole other universe out there. So thank you so much.
A lot more.
Yeah.
I bet. I know there is.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. It was very much fun to talk about all of that. It's been a long time since I had the opportunity to talk about those projects. So thank you.
Well, they're awesome.
And it was a pleasure, and I'd love to come back on your show anytime you feel like it.
Oh, absolutely. We have to have you back. We have to have you back. So that'll do it. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Ben. And we will catch you guys, I think, on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're coming back strong. Not this strong, but strong. We're going to be doing John Tar 3. We're going to do as our book club on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Definitely tune in for that. Andre, thank you so much. Ben, you guys are the best. Take care, and we will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.